Hey folks, my name's Ed Travers. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of St. Margaret of Scotland that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Gwe. No, the furnace isn't broke. It's working just fine. It's just we don't have it on all the time. And Saturday mornings happens to be one of those times, which is when I'm filming this video. And I just cut my hair this morning, and it's really, really cold here today. So I've got a hat on. By the way, yay albacores, and a sweater, but the furnace is just fine. Anyhow, today, real quick, I want to talk about judgment. So I did a video this week where, I was talking about Mike Pence judging Joe Biden, and then it turns out Mike Pence had documents in his house, and da-da-da-da-da. So in that video, there were a couple of comments mentioned that I wanted to sort of address in this one. The first is the understanding of what judgment is. Right? Some people rightfully said, Ed, you're wrong. We are supposed to judge. Paul tells us to judge. The First Testament tells us to judge. Jesus tells us to judge. When Jesus in Matthew chapter 7 says, do not judge or you'll be judged, what he means, we shouldn't condemn another person. We shouldn't pass sentence upon another person. He's not saying don't be critical thinkers. Don't use your brain. He's not saying to just accept whatever anybody says. He's not saying just go ahead and follow whoever asks you to follow them without any kind of consideration, without any kind of thinking. He's not asking us to let go of our ability for conscious thought. He's not saying, please don't have an opinion about something, or please don't compile a whole bunch of knowledge together and then make a decision. No, all of those things are necessary, right? All of those things are necessary. I mean, shoot, Paul's letters are all about who to follow, right? They're all about who to follow, what path to take, how we can be more like Christ, and how to avoid the pitfalls of some of the false teachers that were floating around at the time, some of the people that were trying to take advantage and manipulate this new fledgling church that was coming about. Of course, we need to be discerning. Of course, we need to understand for ourselves and make decisions about the directions we will go. Of course, we need to be able to say, I will not follow that person because of the experiences that I have had or have witnessed with this person. No, it's a matter of do not condemn another person. In particular, do not condemn them publicly. Do not pass judgment upon them publicly. But for the record, I would argue we also shouldn't do it privately. Whether it's between one or two of us or simply just up here. We should work to avoid that particular trap. See, when we pass a sentence upon another person, when we condemn another person, when we allow our thinking to go in those directions, what we end up doing is we end up creating, well, we could end up creating a habit. We could end up creating neural pathways for that kind of negativity, and it's not healthy. It ends up eating us up. It ends up taking away our creative energy and putting it into something else. Now, we do it to stay safe, right? We want to label something as bad so that we can avoid it. We want to label something as bad so that others will avoid it in an effort to save ourselves the pain and the trouble. But the truth is we don't have to label them bad. We don't have to condemn them. We have to look at them and say, well, I don't agree with that position. Which brings me to the second major thing that was said, and some of the emails that I received was, well, what about Trump? Should we not judge Trump or people like Trump? That's my own addition. Well, it's okay to say, I don't like this guy's policies. I don't like this guy's behaviors. I don't think this guy is firing on all cylinders. I think that this guy might be selfish. I think that this guy's lying to us. I think that this guy is, whatever the case might be. But again, even in a situation like Trump or people like Trump, I would encourage all of us to withhold our condemnation. Not for their benefit, but for ours. I would encourage everybody to withhold the action of passing a sentence upon another. You are deemed bad upon another. There's a musician, and I can't remember who it is, and though I searched, I couldn't find it. I think the musician was Rich Mullins. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was Rich Mullins. He was a Christian Christian musician. He was talking about he was talking about theology, differences in theology, and especially those theologies that come across as very, very harsh and hateful. And what he said was, they aren't bad. The people who share that theology, they're not bad. They're not bad people. They're just wrong. It's okay for us to decide that theology is wrong. It's not okay for us to condemn them as bad. To decide that theology is not something that I want to partake of, that I want to explore, that I want to journey with is fine. It's acceptable and it's good. But to say that they are bad means to cast them aside. To cast the person aside. You know, one of the things that I've been thinking about has been, what if all of us became judges, the kind of judges that Jesus was warning us about? What if the whole world just went around condemning each other? I mean, somebody does something I don't like, and so I condemn them, which means I set them aside. I push them out of the way. I don't want to look at them again. I don't want to see them again. But because of that thing that they've done that is not what I would have done or not what I would want to be done. But what about the rest of their life? What about the rest of their words? What about the rest of their behaviors? What about all the other things that they may or may not bring into my life? If we take it upon ourselves to be the judge that Jesus tells us not to be in Matthew chapter 7, then my fear would be that everybody around me, everybody around us, would have to therefore be perfect in order for us to be willing to be together in community. And I, for one, am not perfect. One last thing. A few years ago, my wife, for Lent, which is coming up in just a few weeks, she decided she wanted to practice being more non-judgmental, condemning. And so she found this practice, she found this study that she gave a try. She tried it for 40 days, for the 40 days of Lent. And no, she didn't take Sundays off. The idea from the creator of this program, it was really simple. Don't judge because you are not in a position to judge. And that idea, you're not in a position to judge, that understanding was held up by two main principles. The first being, you're not perfect. The second being, you don't know what's going on in this person's life. We shouldn't condemn others because there are things in our lives we could be condemned for. We should show others the same mercy we hope to receive from others. Same breath, I don't know why these people make the decisions that they make. I don't know where they come from. I don't know how they were impacted by their experiences. I don't know what's happening in their life right now today that maybe made them say the things that they said or do the things that they do. I don't know what kind of pain. I don't know what kind of suffering. I don't know who their teachers were. I don't know how they were indoctrinated. I don't know how they were neglected. I don't know how they were weaponized. And for those reasons, I should withhold my condemnation. And for those reasons, I should withhold my condemnation. Anyway, just some thoughts on judgment. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. And may you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. I pray that we would all choose to set down the weight, the burden of being the judge of our brothers and sisters. Yes, we should be discerning. Yes, we should be thoughtful. Yes, I would encourage you to be critical thinkers. But we should also be liberators, not imprisoners. Amen. Nemultus.